What's up, guys? So I guess you guys really liked the first story time. So I got another one coming for you. So this one you're probably not going to believe. It's too crazy. There's no way that happened, but it did. This was the first summer camp I ever went to. And I went to a lot of summer camps. I've probably been to 30 to 40 summer camps. Some overnight, some not, over the years. So I've had my fair share. This was the first one. This was the very first one. It was a week-long overnight up at a camp up at a lake where I live. A big lake. I'm not going to say the name, but it's a big lake. One of the biggest in the state. So we roll up there. It's literally something out of a movie. My parents were late to work, so they literally just dropped me off. Like a movie. Then they speed off. And I'm just standing there with my sleeping bag and my bag full of gear. I'm like, well, what do we do now? Somehow I find my way into this camp. It's like a huge complex. It's got cabins and tents, and it's got like a rock climbing wall. It's got fishing, swimming, everything. It's like a paradise. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is going to be the best week ever. Come to find out, I'm going to the one camp that actually doesn't take place at this place. It's an outdoor adventure camp, and we're camping in different spots around the lake and around the area. So I'm like, well, this is kind of tough. Anyway, the first day we get there is Monday. So I roll up there, I meet everyone, I meet my group. We have to do like a swim test, do a rock climbing test, and I passed those easily, somehow, I don't know. And I keep in mind, I'm like 10 or 11, this is a long time ago. This is like 8 years ago. But anyways, in my group, the outdoor adventure group, there's like groups. So like groups within the group. So there's a family group where it's like 4 like family members. They're not like older, but they're all related. So they have their own tent. There's a group of girls that know each other. They have their own tent. And then the 2 counselors, they have their own tent. And then there's 4 boys, me and one of them, who have never met each other, and we are expected to now live together in a tent for a week. Which, as you can guess, doesn't go that great. But anyways, so first day we get there, we just hang out at the camp. We set up our tents on the property, and we don't really do anything. We just do the tests and everything. And then I just remember, I don't get 1 second of sleep this whole week because the kids in my tent are just crazy. They're jacked up on Mountain Dew. They brought soda, snacks. I just remember the sugar and the caffeine was at an all-time high. So I didn't sleep a wink this whole week, I swear. Anyway, nothing really happens the first day, nothing crazy, but I just remember we stayed up all night and we were so loud, and the camp counselor, the first night, he comes in the tent, he rips the tent open, he's swearing. I was like, shut up. He didn't speak like total English. You just pick out words. Like I heard the F word a lot. And I was like 10 or 11, so that was a big word. Anyway, the story gets interesting the next day, Tuesday, when we're kayaking to camp on these islands in this lake. So we load up the kayaks. I unfortunately get stuck with the job of not being with another person in the kayak. I'm with the stuff. So most people have two-person kayaks. I'm one of the only people that has the single-person kayak, so I have to carry most of the supplies. Everyone's in charge of carrying their own supplies. Everyone gets, they have to carry the sleeping bag, all their own supplies, all the snacks, water they bring. And I have some of the tents. Anyway, so I'm like 10 or 11. I'm a small kid. I'm supposed to kayak 6 miles with all this stuff. So I end up making it, but about like a mile out from these islands, the kid in front of me, he's a klutz. His name's Jason. I just remember that. He's the only kid I remember specifically his name. And he has his stuff. And me and him, I think, were the only ones that had never actually kayaked before. And I just remember watching him struggle. First thing he does, he drops his oar in the water. So that just goes down. And this is at this point, that's like 50 foot deep. He's not going to get that. But he somehow, he finagles his body to try and go grab it, tips his whole kayak over. Didn't strap any of his stuff in. He loses all of his stuff. All of it. His tent, he had the tent for our group. So so there goes the tent in the water. Everything just goes down with the ship. And it was, the kayak was the only thing that didn't actually sink. But he lost the oar, he lost his tent, he lost all supplies. I don't know if he had a phone, but he lost all that. So I'm just like, what is happening? So for like the last mile, I have him hold on to the back of my kayak and he's just in the water because you can't get back in his kayak at this point. Because because, it's pretty hard to get back in a kayak when in the water without tipping it over. They're pretty light. So I tow them for like a mile. We eventually get to this island we're supposed to camp at. We get there, we set it up. We don't have a tent. So we're like, well, what do we do now? So eventually they had someone bring us a tent. I guess they must have called back to the campground. They brought us a 2-person tent for 4 people. So we had a 2-person tent for 4 people. So that was great. Another reason why I didn't sleep, because there's just no room. Like usually when I go camping, even if I sleep with one other person, the 2-person tent's kind of cramped. So imagine having 4. Didn't work very well. You were literally on top of each other. Anyways, Tuesday it's fine. We have exactly 3 meals. We're supposed to leave exactly 24 hours after we get there to go back to do the next thing. That'd be Wednesday. So we have lunch, we have dinner, we have set up our camp. Once again, don't sleep. It's we stay up all night, but everything's fine. And the Jason kid, he leaves. He lost his clothes in the kayak, but when he sunk his kayak, but I should say when he flipped his kayak. So he borrowed somebody else's clothes, and he left the clothes that he had worn, the only pair he actually had, out to dry by the fire. And I guess he woke up the next morning and they were just burnt. They were just burnt. They was like caught on fire overnight, and that was the end of that. And anyways, the Wednesday, huge thunderstorm rolls in. Keep in mind, we only have food for breakfast, and we're supposed to leave right after breakfast. Thunderstorm rolls in. Bam. I don't know how you don't check the weather, but it thunderstormed and rained all day. So we ate breakfast, and then we were stuck on that island for pretty much another 24 hours with only the snacks that we brought, and it was awful. It was just terrible. We were just in our tents all day, just like, this sucks. Like, I'm never doing this again. But it gets a lot worse. Eventually, it stops raining that night. Another sleepless night. It's like 1 a.m. And this other kid, we're in this. It's me, Jason, and 2 other kids in the tent, in this 2-person tent. And this kid, this is one of the defining moments of my life. I'm sitting there trying to sleep. I'm angry. I'm like, I haven't slept in days. We gotta sleep. They're drinking soda. They're living it up. This kid goes outside to go to the bathroom, and I don't know if you know what a shart is. At the time, he called it a Hershey Squirt. I just remember looking. It's the thin tent, and then it's the moon, and you see the moonlight come through. It's a full moon. He Hershey Squirts all over the side of this tent, and it smelled so bad. I mean, oh my God, it was terrible. So at that point, I literally grabbed my sleeping bag, go outside. I'm sleeping in the woods. So I slept in the woods that night. It was with no tent, with nothing on this island in the middle of this lake. And it was a disaster. And you think it can't get any worse. We haven't eaten a proper meal in a day. It's Thursday at this point. We've been on this island for 24 hours longer than we're supposed to have been. And they're like, all right, finally we can go back to camp now. 6-mile journey back to camp on very little food. We make it. We make it back to camp, and you're like, okay, we got to be done. We're done. We're staying at this camp now. We're not doing anything else crazy. Oh, no. These instructors are hell-bent on doing whitewater rafting. And you can imagine, if we could barely camp on an island for a night, how are we going to be able to whitewater raft? Well, we did. Pull up to this place. We set up our like campsite, because I don't know why we set up the tents. We weren't going to sleep there. We did sleep there that Thursday night, I think. Literally on their front lawn. It wasn't a campground. We just set up the tents on the lawn. And then we took these like battle bus things. These are blue school buses to this whitewater rafting thing. And we get in the rafts, and I've never done this before, and I don't think anyone in this camp has ever done this before. So we're like, oh boy. We go down these rapids. I'll never forget. I'm sitting next to the big kid, the Hershey Squirt kid. He's like, when you whitewater raft, you're supposed to dig your feet under like the kind of the seat in front of you, so you don't fall out. And you wear helmets because people fall out. But I was like, I was not going to fall out. I was not going to fall out. That was my thing. I was like, I can't do it, because if I fall out, I'm going to freak out. Well, turns out the kid next to me, he's like, I'm not putting my feet under there. It's uncomfortable. I'm 300 pounds. I don't need to do this. Lo and behold, we go over a huge waterfall. He goes flying. So at that point, the entire whitewater raft, just the balance of weight just tips to my side, because that's like a 300-pound kid that 300 pounds less the whitewater raft is. So it's, the weight imbalance is crazy. And I'll never forget, kids are flying out, and my head is completely in the water, but I'm still holding on to this whitewater raft, and I'm getting pulled through the waterfall. I can hear the rocks scraping on my helmet. And eventually we get up, and half of the whitewater raft, the people in there are just, they're gone. And I'm just like, I'm in total shock. I'm just like just, what is, I'm frozen. And the camp instructor's yelling at me, screaming. He's like, do this, do that. We got to get them. You know, it's like, it's just madness. I don't know. Somehow, you know, we end up getting everyone back at the van. I think one person actually walked like a mile. Just a kid back to the van by himself. We took the raft back. We picked up a few people. I think other people went on the other rafts. But you're thinking, we got to be done. We got to be done. We go back to the campsite. It's not even a campsite. It's this front lawn of this whitewater rafting place. Camp. We had fire. It was nice. It was probably the nice night. I still didn't sleep, though, because these kids were just so loud the whole night. Didn't sleep. At that point, I'm just like, oh, whatever. At that point, I was taking their soda. I was like, if you're not gonna let me sleep, give me some of the soda so I could stay up. So Friday, so you're like, all right, we got to be down. Well, no, we're not going back to the campsite. We're going back to go whitewater rafting. But instead of whitewater rafting, we're going whitewater kayaking, because kayaks are definitely designed for waterfalls, especially a 3-person kayak, which is what I was in. Well, we load up. It's me, this clueless girl. No offense to her, she just didn't know. She didn't know anything. And this other kid who thought he knew everything. And I'm in the middle. And if you've been in a 3-person kayak and you're in the middle, you have no control. There is nothing you can do, really. You can't turn. The only thing you can do is power. So that's what I did. And we go to, I don't know, they literally just sent us off. We're like, whoa, what's going on? They sent us over this waterfall. They sent us onto the river. And you're supposed to go over them like this. It's a long kayak. So if you went over these waterfalls, you'd be fine if you just went over head straight first. First waterfall, we go over like this and just capsize. We're out. The girl's like screaming and crying. The kid's swearing. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, this is just terrible. How is this happening? Like, how is this even? This feels like something out of a movie. Just one disaster after another. And I somehow, I don't remember exactly what happened. I just remember that seeing the kayak. It was a big kayak, like the mechanical pencil company, just floating down the river, never to be seen again. I was like, well, that sucks. Swim to the bank. With the girl and the kid. They're both pissed. I'm just like, what is happening? I'm just in shock again, because I'm young. I'm like 11. I might have been crying, dude. It was just the whole week was just a disaster. One disaster after another. It was unbelievable. Get back to the van. This time we drive back to the property, and that night we slept in the cabins. It was awesome, but I don't think we slept because we were like crazy. I wasn't even tired at that point. I had no sleep. At that point, I wasn't even tired. So I was just so sleep deprived, I couldn't sleep. It was crazy. And I was actually scarred. Like, I didn't sleep, like, when I got back here after, I don't think I slept for 2 days, because I was in a weird state from not sleeping for that long. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. Poor Jason kid, man. He lost he burned his clothes, he sunk his kayak. That's the one kid I distinctly remember. But that's the story. I don't know. Hopefully you'll like it. That was my first summer camp, but not to be my last. I had about 30 other ones that I did. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys like that. And I'll see you in the next video.